Raised in a world where dreams felt out of reach, Francielle Mattos could never have imagined that her story would one day inspire thousands. What drives a woman to defy all odds, face the unknown, and transform her body and life into a masterpiece of discipline and courage? This is the journey of someone who not only conquered competitions, but also broke through the limits set by society and, at times, by herself. Francielle Mattos' story didn't begin with spotlight moments or dreams of glory. It started in a small, unassuming place where ambitions often felt like distant fantasies, overshadowed by the weight of everyday life. As a young girl, Francielle grew up in humble surroundings, where hard work was a necessity and aspirations were luxuries that few could afford. But even in those early days, there was something different about her, a quiet determination that refused to fade. Life wasn't easy, and she faced challenges that could have broken anyone's spirit. Yet, Francielle always found a way to push forward, fueled by an inner strength she couldn't yet explain. Her life might have continued down an ordinary path, if not for a chance encounter with the world of bodybuilding. At first, it was just curiosity. She didn't see herself as someone who could compete, much less win. But there was something about the discipline, the structure, and the sheer mental and physical challenge of the sport that drew her in. It wasn't just about building muscle, it was about building resilience, about proving to herself that she was capable of more than the world expected of her. Starting out wasn't glamorous. Francielle had no guidebook, no roadmap to success. She faced moments of doubt, days when her muscles ached and her confidence wavered. But she kept going, step by step, rep by rep. Training became her outlet, her escape from the noise of everyday struggles. Balancing her new passion with her responsibilities was no small feat. She had a family to care for and work to manage. Yet she carved out time to train, often sacrificing sleep and social moments. Her determination wasn't just about winning a trophy, it was about transforming herself into someone who could stand tall in the face of any challenge. Her first competition was a whirlwind of emotions. Standing on that stage, under the glare of bright lights, and in front of a panel of judges, she felt a mix of pride and vulnerability. But when her name was called as a winner, it wasn't just a trophy she walked away with, it was validation, proof that hard work and belief in oneself could move mountains. That victory wasn't the end of her journey, it was just the beginning. Francielle didn't just prove something to herself that day, she lit a spark for everyone watching. Her story became a reminder that no matter where you start, no matter how impossible the dream seems, the power to achieve it lies within. If you need further refinements or additional chapters, let me know. Success on stage marked a turning point in Francielle Mattos' life, but what she didn't know was that the journey ahead would be even more challenging, filled with moments of glory and pain that only the most resilient can endure. After her first big win, she realized that the competition didn't end when the stage lights went off. In fact, that was where everything truly began. Rising in professional bodybuilding required much more than a sculpted body. It demanded a steel mentality, unwavering dedication, and the ability to turn every obstacle into a stepping stone. Figuring out the next step was a challenge in itself. Francielle knew she had to compete in bigger competitions, in arenas where the spotlight was even brighter, and where she would face the best athletes in the world. To do this, she needed to invest in specialized training, fine-tune every detail of her diet, and seek professional support. But as an athlete still building her career, resources were scarce. Even so, she found a solution, using her story and passion as tools to attract sponsors and form a team that believed in her potential. The first big international challenge was unforgettable. Francielle flew overseas for a competition, carrying not just her luggage, but also the hopes of everyone who supported her. The experience was both terrifying and exciting. Facing established athletes from around the world made her realize that bodybuilding was much more than a sport. It was an art that required a balance of strength, beauty, and discipline. Though she didn't win the title at that event, Francielle walked off the stage with something even more valuable: the awareness that she could compete on equal terms with the best, and the certainty that her journey had only just begun. International recognition started to grow. With every competition, every podium finish, Francielle got closer to her dream of becoming a bodybuilding icon. But the road to that dream was not without sacrifices. There were days when the exhaustion felt unbearable, nights when sleep was interrupted by the pressure of balancing personal and professional life. The strict diet, the grueling training sessions, and the need to maintain an active presence on social media to connect with her fans required a level of commitment that few could sustain. But Francielle wasn't like most people. Every difficulty served as a reminder of where she came from and the promise she had made to herself, to show that no goal was unreachable for those willing to fight for it. The crowning moment came at one of the most significant events of her career. Competing in a globally recognized competition, Francielle stood out in a way that seemed reserved for veteran athletes. Her performance was flawless, each movement on stage exuding a combination of strength and grace that couldn't be ignored. When her name was called as the winner, she felt a whirlwind of emotions. In that moment, all the hours of training, all the pain, and all the sacrifices made sense. It was confirmation that she wasn't just competing, but building a legacy. From that point, Francielle became a reference, but with success came a new set of challenges. As a champion, the expectations grew exponentially. The world of bodybuilding could be harsh, where even a small mistake could cost years of hard work. She realized that staying on top would be even harder than getting there. However, instead of being intimidated, Francielle embraced the responsibility. She began using her visibility to inspire others, sharing her story, and showing that success isn't a result of natural talent, but of hard work and perseverance. Moreover, Francielle expanded her impact beyond the stage. She started giving talks, hosting workshops, and creating content on social media that not only showcased her athlete routine, but also encouraged other women to chase their dreams, no matter what they were. For her, bodybuilding was just a platform, a way to deliver a bigger message about overcoming obstacles and self-acceptance. But not everything was a victory. There were moments of failure, mistakes, and disappointments. There was one competition where, after months of intense preparation, Francielle missed the podium by a tiny point difference. The disappointment was crushing, but not permanent. She used that moment as an opportunity to reflect and improve. The truth was, for Francielle, every defeat brought a lesson, and every lesson made her stronger. There was also the challenge of balancing personal and professional life. Francielle was a mother, and the desire to be present in her children's lives often clashed with the demands of her career. But instead of seeing this as a burden, she found motivation in her family. Her children were her greatest inspiration, and she wanted to be for them the living example that any dream is possible as long as you're willing to work for it. Over the years, Francielle accumulated titles and recognition, but what truly set her apart was her ability to touch lives. To many, she was more than just a bodybuilder. She was a symbol of strength, courage, and determination. And while the trophies were important, it was the impact she had on people that drove her the most. Every thank you message she received, every story of overcoming adversity inspired by her, reinforced the meaning of her journey. In an interview, when asked what success meant to her, Francielle answered that it wasn't just about winning competitions, but about inspiring people to believe in themselves. To her, the true legacy wasn't in the titles, but in the impact she left on the world. This vision guided her, making her continue to challenge herself and seek new horizons, not just as an athlete, but as a human being. Time passed, and Francielle solidified her place as a legend in bodybuilding. But her journey is far from over. Whenever she steps onto a stage, she carries with her not only the weight of years of dedication, but also the hopes of everyone who sees her as an example. Her story is still being written, and every chapter is proof that for those who believe in their dreams, the impossible is just a matter of perspective.